how do I feel? Well, this is probably the best Christmas present for this community. And you say Christmas present because every day they go to work and every day they drive home. They worry about a bullet, getting shot, worry about their kids not being able to make it home. So that's why it's historic. So let me take the news media. I'm going to introduce my colleagues in about 5 seconds. Ms. Cummings going to introduce the other two, but just three of us going to be talking up here, and then we'll answer some questions at the end. But first of all, I would like to thank the State of Business and Professional Regulations and Secretary this year. And I'm going to let Wyman talk about that in a second. And a special thanks to Representative Wyman Duggan. He's going to come up in a minute and talk about his role. And I say that to Wyman because two months ago when I was trying to figure out how to answer the cries in my community, I reached out to a friend who don't even represent this district and said, I need your help. And because of him, that's why we're here today, because his relationship and how hard he held my hand and we worked together. I also want to thank the sheriff office and the mayor. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Today, the state suspended Gold Rush license. I will be co-sponsoring ordinance with Councilwoman Cummings, White, and Newby. I'm going to let Ms. Cummings talk about that in a minute, to talk about the long-term plan. Has nothing to do with today, but we're going to sponsor a bill that making sure that not just District 7, that in a district in the future, that this will never happen again once we introduce this ordinance. And let me just say this. If the owner is listening, it won't happen in District 7 again, because we've been told that you own two more. This time, we're not going to let over 800 police calls happen at that particular one location. At least 8 murders there are around that particular area, that for what JSO told us that you caused, and something that we don't often talk about, the suicides that doesn't happen, that they kept quiet, that we found out lately. And there's so many other evil violations, events that happen at that particular location. So I will talk a little more at the end. Let me also read a statement from the city before I introduce who the star of the day is, Mr. Duggan. This comes from the city. And why that's important, because we want to make sure, if I can find it, we want to make sure that nobody get left out. I know I brought it. All right, Joe, this is where you come in at, because I don't see it. Go ahead in there and see if it's in here.
Like we can
That's okay, we'll look for it.
forward it on
So
later.
in saying that, well, I look for a statement from the mayor office in the city, and I lost my voice. Let me introduce Wyman Duggan, and let me again thank him for his role. He will tell you how we got here today. And again, on behalf of District 7 and Harris Road, let me thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting us to this point today. So you guys, for those who don't know, Wyman Duggan, come up, Wyman.
Good afternoon, I'm Wyman Duggan. I represent House District 15 here in Duval County. Thank you, Councilman Gaffney, for those kind words. It's truly an honor and a privilege to work with the councilman on this issue that's important to everybody in our community, regardless of where they live. The councilman did reach out to me probably late October to bring this issue to my attention. And he provided me, he and his staff, with the call records from the JSO for the last September 19 to September 20, it was approximately 800 calls for service to that facility. I reached out to Secretary Halsey Bashirs at the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, which regulates hotels and motels. Provided him with that data. He immediately committed to taking a look at the facility. He sent inspectors to the site to do an initial analysis. Unfortunately, tragically, events continued to occur while that analysis was ongoing. 2 more people have at least lost their lives there. And so within the last week, the Secretary got back in touch to say they agreed that this presents an immediate and serious threat to public health, welfare, and safety, which is the language that's in the emergency order that I think you've all have been or will be provided a copy of, which allows the Secretary, under his statutory and regulatory administrative rule authority, to issue an emergency order to declare it a public safety threat and to close it temporarily. And so that is what has transpired. I want to thank, again, Secretary Bashirs, his Deputy Secretary, Michael Johnston, who is kind of the point person in the last 24 hours getting everything done, Sheriff Mike Williams, of course, and this particularly Assistant Chief Craig Waldrop, who worked with the Department of Business and Professional Regulation to take the enforcement action last night and this morning, to notice the site, start evacuating it. I want to thank the first responders who are out there right now. You probably drove by on your way here. They're out there in the rain and the cold putting this order into effect to protect our community. So again, the councilman was very kind, but this is an issue that he has championed for his constituents. He has fought like a lion for them. It's an honor for me to be part of that effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And let me read the statement, because what Wyman just said, that what that order did is temporarily close it. It can be 1 day, it can be 2 years. But this is action that the city is going to take. The city is coordinating with JSO to perform inspection of the property through the Jacksonville Fire and Municipal Code Compliance and Building Inspection Division. If any violation is found, and then that particular building can be condemned. Not always what we want, but that's possible way we may be headed at. And also another statement here from Stephanie Burt, Development Services are standing by to assist those individuals and families who may need or need to find temporary housing or shelter. So the city is willing and able to do what it needs to do to help those individuals. But keep in mind, the license is for a hotel. And if truly it's operating as a hotel, and you shouldn't have nobody lounging for weeks and months. So that alone, the guy you spoke to earlier, when he said he's been there since June, that lets you know that that particular hotel is out of compliance. And that alone is supposed to be closed. And so unfortunate, I heard others say they've been there. Now you're getting phone calls. We've been living there for weeks and months. But again, that's a hotel license. If we all understand what a hotel is. You check in and you're supposed to check out. And so in saying that, I'm going to introduce special, well, all 3 of these, my colleagues are special. But we had a Zoom meeting this morning to talk about a new ordinance. Basically what this ordinance is going to do, and I'm going to let her explain it because I don't want to steal all the thunder here, but this is going to give not just District 7, but long term, it's going to solve a problem that we are facing in Jacksonville, because today it's this one, but tomorrow we know it's going to be another one. So I'm going to let Ms. Comer come up and talk about the ordinance that she and I are going to co-sponsor along with Councilman Newby. Kind of do that there. And my special favorite councilman, Councilman White right there. I want to say special favorite because every time I call a meeting, he'll be there. If it's raining, sometimes Sam comes, but he's always there. So without further ado, I'm going to let Ms. Comer come up and talk about the ordinance that we all three going to introduce together.
Thank you, Councilmember Gaffney. It's great to be here with colleagues and with Representative Duggan and Pastor. You know, it's no secret that this isn't the first nor will it be the last hotel in this city that is doing things that are creating a nuisance in our neighborhoods, and our code enforcement simply doesn't have the tools to handle nuisance created by drugs, by sex trafficking. And so what we are going to introduce is a bill to create a nuisance abatement board. And what that will do is that will take over where code enforcement is really not the right place or the right tool to use. So the nuisance abatement board will be able to look at things like drugs and sex trafficking and other crimes that are really tearing neighborhoods apart. So I'm really looking forward to working on this. We will have a bill as soon as we get back from break, and hope that all of our colleagues can jump on, because this is an issue not just here and not just today. This is an issue throughout the city, and we really need the tools locally to be able to make our neighborhoods safer and make everyone in the city safer. So really looking forward to it. This will be a long-term solution to try to make the city better and safer for everyone. So I'm very happy to be with my colleagues, and Councilmember Gaffney has just been great on working on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. And last, probably over the last 2 weeks, done stood on that particular lot, hotel, about 10, 15 times, and every time I'm up there, the pastor of this church, who got some real stories to tell you about, I'm going to let him come and share how he feels today, because it's been a big burden on this church and this community. He lived right down the street. So, Pastor Jackson, thank you for opening up your church, but also I want you to say a couple words before we kind of open it up a little bit.
First of all, I give honor to God, who permits things to happen so he can proclaim what he's going to do and get the glory from it. God spoke in my spirit in the news conference on November the 23rd. He said, tell them that the hotel will be closed. And that's a prophecy. And that prophecy has been fulfilled. Brothers and sisters, God keeps his promise. And so I thank God for Councilman Reggie Gaffney and all these elected officials for taking this issue serious, being steadfast. They did not quit. They had the spirit of making sure that this task for the people got done. And at least not forget our neighborhood watchman, Jelly Jackson, Brother Williams, and others, to make sure that this task is completed. We have asked for community policing in our community to help bring about a change for the better in our community, but to no avail. So as I spent time in prayer talking to the Lord about the situation, the Lord spoke to my spirit and said, Michael, you must to become the not law enforcement officers, but police. And he gave me an acronym for police. The acronym for police, and you probably see us wearing it around here. You might see pastor on the back of my shirt, pastor police. But police, presenting our love in community enterprise, meaning that we're going to be concerned about our community, making sure that our community stay the way it is. In this community, you got homes of about $140,000 to up to $400,000, and those kind of issues that are going on at the hotels and other entities in the community. I am very concerned about the children. Those children get off at Sam's on Dunn's Avenue, walk from Sam's, come all the way down to Harts Road, and they got to walk by those hotels in the morning and in the afternoon. And I pray to God that no stray bullet will hit any children or hit any people that are going to and fro, because it's one way in and one way out. And so I thank God, and I thank these elected officials who stepped up to the plate to make sure that this hotel is closed. And we want to say to those other hotels that are on Harts Road and the surrounding areas, if they happen to leave that hotel and go to another hotel, then we're going to be coming after you also, because this is our community. It's a community that we live in. So I give all praise and I give all glory to God for what he has done. Thank you, Captain Gaffney.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank you, Pastor, for your prayers, because I believe that the prayers that you and so many other individuals who live on Hard Road prayed is the reason we're here today. Hard Road, you've been through a lot. I'm just glad the good Lord will allow me to be the vessel and be the leader to end this. Make no mistake, when you walk out of here, that will be close. It will be. It's a process. We're on third base, headed home. Today it's just one step or two or three other steps that now the city can do to even do a little more than what the state did. And saying that, if there's any questions you guys want to ask right now. Yes, sir.
Based on the procedure today, so the hotel or the motel is not closed at this point, and when do the people have to be out? Because are they going to be there for a while?
So the ordinance. Thank you. The ordinance, or the letter that the secretary sent today, basically what he did today is season stop the hotel for doing business. They can't do any more business. Individuals who may have a two-night stay, they can perhaps, if he chooses to allow them to stay, they can stay. If somehow he chooses not to charge, he can't charge money, he cannot collect money. All he can do as a owner is allow them to stay there. When I found that out, to me that was a problem, because that's not curing what this community deserves. So that's why now what the city is getting ready to do, what I call phase two. The fire marshal and other municipalities will be going out there tomorrow, and I asked them not today because I don't know who you got there, but I believe in respect. I want to give people as much time as they can to leave. And saying that, I want to make sure they feel safe. But the city will be going out there doing what I call a phase two, doing inspection to find out what kind of infraction that it can cause to be shut down permanently. And based on what I know, and we all know, it's enough there to shut it down and open up forever. But that's not my call. That's those professionals, what they're going to be doing. Yes, let me get to the media first, sir. Anybody else got any questions? Yes, ma'am.
So inspection is going on today or tomorrow?
Say that again.
Inspection is going on today or tomorrow?
So what I ask the city to do for me is be patient, is give them, and they may have started the process today, but again, it takes a couple of days. So you also know the owner did decide to reach out to me for the first time. I will be meeting with him tomorrow. I don't know why, but I will be meeting with him tomorrow. He asked to see if we can come up with a remedy. What I shared with him today is not me doing this. You got to talk to the community on Harts Road. Don't talk to me, talk to them. They my boss. But no, and saying that they'll be probably start today, but they won't be doing no forcing or eviction to probably tomorrow, to make sure that those individuals who may need some services, they can reach out. We'll have somebody from Cities Social Services will be out with GSO. Perhaps it's probably raining today, tomorrow, to make sure we can reach out to perhaps whoever may need help at this particular time. So that's at some point tomorrow. That's gonna happen.
It's confusing because I've asked this morning, but you have the power as a public nuisance to shut them down, and why hadn't that happened before? What's the difference between this? Because they are violating laws out there.
Jim, you and I have spoken several times. That's been my biggest frustration. That's been the community's biggest frustration. And when you work in politics, everything is a process. You cannot violate somebody, especially when it's a private owner. So the city has to have taken step by step. You heard me today when Jason said, yes, yesterday the city had issued another 7 days notice. A month ago, I've been told by the GSO when Dot did it, they gave them a 30-day notice. My biggest frustration, that's why me and my colleagues going to introduce an ordinance legislation to be able to deal with this problem, because it appeared that we don't have ordinance in place that allow them to go and say, we got 800 phone calls, so many deaths, and we want to close you down today. What we have in place is just a Band-Aid to say, we give you so much time to get your house together, and getting your house together might be putting paint on a wall, but that's still not dealing with the cure and the nuisance why we want to close it down. And so when I was shocked like you this morning when I heard that the city gave them 7 more additional days. This is why I'm so grateful for Wyman, because what his order did, the secretary order, it closed it down. It stopped business. You can, like I say, I don't anticipate no more business there for months. But I think now what it also gave us the power, us as a city, based on what I've been told, is to do what we've been trying to do. But I think the state gives us a little more teeth now to be more aggressive in the findings that we have identified. So in saying that, this ordinance again will get us to where we need to go in the future. By my colleagues and I, all we got to do is give some kind of, we're going to form a board. I don't want to go into details. We'll form a committee that this committee will be the one, similar to what they did in Orange Park, when they identified nuisance and prostitution and other activities, be the one, not us as councilmen, they'll be the one that reaching out to GSO to say this is a nuisance in the community, to be able to start the process a little faster. And that's the key here, faster. And my stress that some of y'all heard me the last couple of days was, if we didn't do nothing, and I'm glad the secretary heard my cries, if we didn't do nothing, we wrote a letter to the governor. In 30 days, some poor family will be grieving again because it's probably would have been another shooting. It's like it's happened every 15 to 30 days. So this action today began a process of an end, and that's the end intent is to close it down. And other questions? And Coach, you can ask me a question. I mean, any one of my colleagues want to say anything to the media before we kind of dismiss? Again, let me thank this community for coming. Let me thank the news. You guys are so important to get the story out there. But this is there all about Hart's Road and this community moving forward. And closing again, if you own a hotel, I promise you that me and my colleagues will be aggressive in making sure we close you down. We're not going to wait on 7 people to get shot. We're not going to wait on 800 calls. We're going to be more aggressive, and we will have more tooth in about 30 days as we draft an ordinance to give us the power to do what we need to do much faster than me talking to 10, 15 people a night saying, Councilor Gaffney to do something. And in saying that, thank y'all for coming. Happy days will start again on Hart's Road. We're a community who deserves so much better. I believe this also going to send a message to the other two, because if you just saw your friend, I'm pretty sure they know each other, just got shut down, and I'm willing to bet you tomorrow you're going to operate like you're supposed to. And we're going to be watching. This is not it. We're going to be watching. We've been talking about this forever. We all believe that some of those individuals are going to go right across the streets, go right around the corner, go cross into another district. But we're going to be watching, because we're going to be more diligent and ready to close them down this time. So God bless y'all. Thank y'all. And thank y'all for being patient with me. So Again, thank you, Jelly. I'm going to come up and ask you a question.